Welcome to the Credit Repair Show with your host, the Credit Doctor, Angelo McCutcheon, coming to you with another quick video on the credit repair process. Now, let us just set this up. So, we got to go IG live as well. So, just give me a minute to set this up, you guys, and we will be on our way. Today, we got some topics that we want to cover on how to get your credit together. And we want to also talk about background checks. What's wrong with background checks, and why a lot of times when people pull your background checks for jobs or for an apartment to live in, you get denied because of errors that's connected to your credit report. And not only that, but they're supposed to give you information about the background check. They just can't tell you you're denied and then you just go away. So we're going to deal with that, and we're going to talk about what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has to say, because they put out a report on background checks and what it entails and things like that. And we're just going to read some of that report for you today. All right. So if you come on into the room, make sure you hit the like and the share button. If you want to add a comment, make sure you hit the link so that StreamYard could allow your comments to come into the chat room. And IG, if you have any questions, definitely type it in. And we'll be answering questions today if there are any questions. But mainly, we're going to be talking about the credit repair process and keep informing you guys on how you can repair your credit. All right. Now, before we talked about cleaning up your profile, yesterday we talked about building positive credit. Today, we want to just talk a little bit about, because I want to get into the background check errors. But let's start off by saying how to deal with negative items on your credit report. All right. So we want to deal with how to deal with negative items on your credit report. Now, after you've dealt with your profile, right? And if you haven't seen that, please watch my video, go on my page, whatever you got to do, and look at the video I put up about how to clean up your credit profile, what it is, and how to actually clean it up. All right. Once you've done that, once you then establish some positive credit on your credit report, 2 to 3 positive things being reported, now you're ready to tackle the negative items on your credit report. Now, here is something you need to know. When we talk about negative items being reported on your credit report, we're talking about you looking for things that are inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. Inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. All right. That's the most important thing when it comes to cleaning up the negative things on your credit report. So if you have charge-offs, if you have collections, if you have late payments, if you have bankruptcy, or anything else, you just have collections. I think I did say collections on your credit report. Those are the things that you got to look at, and not only look at, but see how it's being reported on all 3 of your credit reports. All right. So the most important thing is getting all 3 of your credit reports, one from TransUnion, one from Equifax, one from Experian, and then comparing them, because you'll be surprised how often things get reported differently to the credit bureaus. So one case, you might have a Capital One account, and they might tell Experian that you owe $5,020. But they might tell Equifax you owe $5,022. Or they might tell Experian you owe $4,020. You'll be surprised how information gets mingled and not reported accurately. Now remember, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that's the law that gives you the right to clean up your credit or dispute anything on your credit report that you feel is inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. Remember, that law says whatever goes on your credit report, it has to be 100% accurate to the T. 100% accurate. And the reason why they say that is because when they did their study, they found out 70% of things found on, or 70% of credit reports have some type of error in them. And you'll be surprised if you go over your credit reports. They might say you was late March of 2021 for one account, but for that same account, they may report to the other credit bureau that you was late April of 2021 for that same account. And again, whatever gets reported to the credit bureau, it has to be accurate across the board. If it is not accurate, then they either have to fix it or it has to be deleted from your credit report. And that's the best way I can put it. It has to be deleted from your credit report. So either it has to be accurate or they have to fix it. And if they don't in a timely manner, it must be deleted from your credit report. All right. So this is important information for you guys to know. All right. And again, looking over your credit reports, looking over your collection accounts, looking over your charge offs, look at the dates, look at the first payment or first delinquent payment, look at the balance, the high balance, when the account was open, when the account was closed. What was the balance? What was the charge off amount? Whatever they say it is, number one, if they report it to all three credit bureaus, all of it has to be the same. You can't report one finding to one credit bureau and then another finding to another credit bureau with a different number of the same account. When you start going through your credit reports and seeing information like that, that's when you know there are factual errors being reported on your credit report. And now you have the right to dispute that information. So don't let nobody tell you that you can't clean up your credit. You can have your credit cleaned up, whether you do it yourself or whether you get a third party to help you clean up your credit. Don't let nobody tell you. Don't let no knucklehead, don't let no fool, don't let anybody tell you that your credit cannot be fixed, that things cannot be deleted from your credit report. Because trust me when I tell you, I see it on YouTube a lot, see it on people making videos about it, and even telling me that you can't clean up people's credit. When I've been doing this for 15 years and have a track record of people who came to me with scores of 400 and 500, now in the 700s and 800s, with things being deleted from their credit report, and a number of people who've already told me they've purchased homes after going through our system. So when I hear people talking about it can't be done, I know, number one, they have no idea what they're talking about. No idea what they're talking about. All right, and just trying to sound important or trying to sound big, but have no clue to what they're talking about. So yes, when you're dealing with cleaning up your credit, you're just not saying get rid of everything that's negative. You're saying, hey, if there are factual errors being reported, then I have the right to dispute that information. And if they can't fix it, they have to delete it from my credit report. Now, deleting information from your credit report does not mean you don't owe the debt anymore. It just means that they can't report it on your credit report, which gives you an opportunity to improve your credit, right? Gives you an opportunity to improve your credit, get your scores up so that you can then go ahead and get that house, get that home, whatever you're looking to get, that apartment, whatever, the job, whatever. So you want to improve your credit score because you know that that's basically what lenders are going to look at as part of their, plan of whether they're going to give you the loan, give you the mortgage, give you the auto loan or anything like that. So credit is important. And if that is important, you want to make sure that what's being reported is accurate. And the problem is most people, a lot of times, just assume that what's being reported is accurate. You'll be surprised. So they might say, you know what, I have a Capital One. I know I owe that. I know that. Like I have people tell me like, yeah, that Capital One, that's my account. I know I owe that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can pay it off. But let's take a look at how they're reporting it. If they're telling TransUnion you owe 2,500 and they're telling Experience you owe 2,500, and they tell Equifax, TransUnion, both that you owe 2,500, but they tell Experience you owe 2,300. Well, then something is not correct. Now we don't know, is it 23 or is it 25? Now you have the right to dispute that because you now see some errors being reported on your credit report. And the law, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, has stated over and over and over and over that when inaccurate information is being reported on your credit report, it is up to the credit bureaus to do an investigation to make sure that they're reporting accurate, 100% accurate information. And according to the CFPB, a lot of times they're not doing that. And here's what you got to remember: the credit bureaus do not make money cleaning up your credit. The credit bureaus do not make money cleaning up your credit. They only make money selling your credit. So they're not gun ho to clean up your credit. So you got to stay on top of them and make sure they do what they're supposed to do, and don't let them send you stall letters, stall tactics, and say it can't be done. You have to stay on top of that. All right. So now let's talk about background checks. I want to read something from the Financial Protection Bureau that came out November 15, 2022. All right, and it's this right here I'm reading from. I'm going to be reading, and it says reports highlight problems with tenant background checks. Now, this has always been, but it's becoming even more of a bigger problem now. With a lot of people who are trying to get, like, I have people who call me and say, "Hey, I was denied an apartment because they looked at my credit." Right, and it's not that they looked at your regular credit; they actually did a background check, which included your credit also. But your background check consists of your criminal, if you have any criminal records, um, your credit, any judgments, anything like that in the background that you may have done that might hurt or hinder you from getting a job, good paying job, a good apartment, a good home, whatever the case may be. So anybody that's going to do a full background check on you, you want to make sure that the information that they're pulling is accurate information. But let me tell you, because a lot of people just assume it is, but I'm here to tell you it is not. So let me read a little bit of what the government said about this. Again, it says the subject is reports highlight problems with tenant background checks. Now they're dealing with, this could be for jobs, but they're mostly dealing with people who are trying to get apartments and things like that. Under that, it says errors and false information in tenant background checks raises costs and barriers to qualify rental housing. So it says today, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued 2 reports on the tenant background check industry. The reports describe how errors in these background checks contribute to higher costs and barriers to qualify rental housing. Too often, these background checks, which purport to contain valuable tenant background information, are filled with largely unvalidated information of uncertainty, accuracy, or predictive value. While renters bear the cost of errors and false information in these reports, they have few avenues to make tenant screening companies fix their sloppy procedures. The CFPB analysis of more than 24,000 complaints highlighted the renter challenges associated with the industry's failure to remove wrong, old, or misleading information and to provide adequate investigations of disputed information. So, what am I saying here? Or what are they saying here? Basically, a lot of times when it comes to these companies pulling your background checks, whether it's for your job, whether it's for an apartment, the government is saying that there are a lot. You'd be surprised how many errors or inaccurate information is found in your background check. A lot of companies that get your information, who you are, what you have done, where you live, criminal records, judgments, or anything like that. A lot of times, misleading information gets reported on your background. And because you are not aware that you have a right to find out what's being reported on my background, you just accept what they tell you. So they say, well, we denied you for an apartment, or we denied you for this job based on information in your background check. And then they don't tell you that you have the right to get a copy of your background check so that you can see what's wrong and then at least have the opportunity to fix it. A lot of times they just deny you outright. but it could be because of some unfactual errors that's being reported on your credit report. Now, just think of all the times you apply for an apartment, you apply for a job, you apply for this, you apply for that, and you didn't get it. And they tell you what the background came back and they denied you. Well, they have to tell you that you have a right to get a copy of that. So you can fix whatever errors on there. But they don't even do that, right? Because then sometimes people will look, if they look at it, be like, "Hey, wait a minute, I've never had that criminal record. No, that's not mine. That information on my credit report they got, that's not mine." Let me read on a little bit more. When a company produces a tenant background check report that is riddled with errors, it can cause serious harm to a family seeking housing. These background reports are heavily used by corporate landlords that own an increasing share of rental housing in our country. So, we are taking steps to ensure these reports do not contain false information. The CFPB works closely with the Federal Trade Commission to hold the tenant screening industry accountable. FTC, the Federal Trade Commission enforcement investigations have identified serious problems with tenant background reports. We will continue to work with the CFPB to ensure that firms comply. These reports are following the law. Who compiling these reports are following the law. Interesting. Very interesting. The tenant background check industry creates reports that include extensive personal information such as credit history, civil and criminal records, and credit scores, as well as companies base their decision to rent a prospective tenant. The CFPB reports on the state of the tenant screening market is an analysis of industry research. Both reports reveal that people are denied rental housing because negative information is reported that belongs to someone else, or outdated information remains on reports, and inaccurate or misleading details about arrests, criminal records, and eviction records are not corrected nor removed from reports. The Consumer Snapshot reveals that renters submitted more than 16,000 complaints about incorrect information on their reports, and another 4,500 complaints about obstacles faced trying to get companies to fix their errors. So, what are we saying? A lot of you guys have been denied uh, because of background, because of your background, denied apartments or good paying jobs because of issues on your background. Now, if it's legitimate issues, fine. But if it's errors that's they're basing it on things that does not really belong to you, then you are being falsely denied for something that should not be. And so, what is your recourse when that happens? Well, you can send a complaint to uh, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which works with the Federal Trade Commission, or you can get you a consumer lawyer to look into your case if you feel that you was denied based on errors in your credit report, a job, an apartment. Now, here's a good thing. I have access to attorneys who strictly work with background checks. If you've been denied a background check, you need to at least hit me up so we can go over and see if you have a case free of charge. And the attorneys that I have access to will do it for you free of charge. We'll not charge you for this. But if you can show errors in your background check that needs to be taken care of and they're reporting this, then the attorneys that we work with will definitely fight on your behalf. All right, so I just wanted to drop that in there. We got 20 minutes into this. I don't want to go any longer. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Those of you who are watching this on a replay, definitely hit the like and share button. Have any questions, just type it in and we'll get back to it. But listen, you don't have to live with bad credit. There is something you can do about it. Again, you can hit me up for a free over the phone consultation. My email address. If you're following me on StreamYard, all my information is in the contact description of this video. So just go down there. Many ways you can get through email, through message me, all that good stuff. It's right in the description. IG, all you got to do is just DM me for more information, and we'll definitely connect with you to make this happen. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll probably be back later on this evening, hopefully, but not tomorrow. But we're going to continue to focus on background checks. All right. You guys have a blessed day. Stay blessed, whatever you do. Stay blessed. What's even more important